Hey guys, you're watching Z1 and Only. My name is AJ, and we are back, not on a tutorial episode this time. We're sort of on a one-off special video on how I plan my buildings, how I plan the houses and stuff. A lot of you have been asking in the comment section on Twitter and private messages, so I thought I'd make a video instead of replying to every single one of you. I'll make a video on how I do it, and hopefully it'll help out a lot more people. So we've got the town hall here. I'm on my Let's Build a City world, and a lot of you really like this building, so I'm going to use this as an example. And the way I first went about this is the first thing I done was I went on Google, and all I done was Googled town halls. So Google town halls, and I collected a load of pictures saved on my computer, so I didn't have to go and search for them again. And I just saved in a folder different town halls that I really like the look of. And then what I done is I looked at them a bit more closely, opened them up in Photoshop or in Paint, and I circled, just very roughly circled, what features of each picture I really liked. So on one picture there was a clock on the front like this, and I really liked that design, so I done that. Another one had a sort of pillar in the middle, a big tower in the middle, so I circled that. Another one had a window design very similar to this, so I took that. Another one had, oops, my pad's fell out of battery. Another one had pillars around it. They were more round pillars than these square ones, but I thought as it was Minecraft I wanted to do square pillars. So I sort of circled them and sort of done a design. So that's what I went through the process first. And then I had the ideas of all the bits that I wanted to put into one building. So then the idea was to work out a floor plan. Now sometimes I do this in Minecraft, and sometimes I do this on Paint. It's quick, it's easy, or Photoshop if I want it to be a little bit more accurate. And I just fill out a very basic, with any block, a floor plan. So for the town hall I built out, and it's basically a rectangle shape. So I built a rectangle, obviously a lot bigger than this. Built out a rectangle shape, and I thought, right, that's the sort of size that I want it. And now let's do the details. So on the front I had the clock tower bit, so the clock tower comes out here. On the back I wanted to come in a bit. If you haven't seen the back, here's the back. So the back actually comes in a bit. So I done that. And you get a sort of floor design. I never bother with the interior. Well, that's a lie. Some buildings on houses mostly, I sometimes lay out where I want the rooms to be. But that's very rare. Very rarely do I do that. I usually do just the external, and I finish the external off, and then I worry about the inside. The inside is adaptable. The outside isn't really that adaptable. It has to be, in a way, symmetrical throughout the building to make it look really nice. Build all the walls up. Just do flat walls, so we forget the bricks out here. Next step I always do is I just work out with flat walls to get the sort of height that I want. And then it's a matter of adding detail. So with the detail here, I've got bricks and brick stairs just sticking out. They're only 3 blocks, and then sandstone floor on top, 4 on the bottom. We've got stairs on the bottom there to match in with the fences. But as you can see, it would look very, very plain if you can imagine with that just being brick blocks there. In fact, let's delete them. I'm not going to save the world, don't worry. Like that, and like that. So it looks very, very plain, and I think it's missing something. If you look at the one to the right there, we've got the detail on it. The one to the left looks very, very bare, very, very plain, and it definitely looks like it's missing something. Even the roof, this sort of peaked bit, doesn't look right without the sandstone accenting the colours. It's a different colour, it's a very contrasting colour to the brick, and bricks are very, very difficult block to build with in Minecraft. It's definitely a lot easier in this texture pack. It doesn't look too bad in this texture pack. In default it's very, very hard. On the corners here I added sandstone detail to sort of curve them round. I added a little bit more. I use sandstone and brick because they sort of have a very similar shape. The bricks sort of, not exactly, but sort of line up, so they actually accent each other really, really well. Use as many different colours on the outside as possible. So we've got brick, we've got sandstone, we've got stone brick, we've got birchwood, we've got trapdoors, we've got fences, we've got dark wood on the top, the sprucey on the top. I got a little flag on the top there, but that doesn't really add any colour. It sort of adds a little bit of colour, but not really too much. And then the green, the plant around the outside. Now the plant is really, really important. Make sure you do add plants to it. Plant design I had here is what are they called? End portal frame with an eye of Ender in it as like a little stalk. Really, really nice little design here. So once you've got the basic outside, you'll never really finish. I still add bits to this town hall. I just pop on the world and I'm like, oh, let's try this out. And you add bits and you change bits. These were floor blocks and I changed them to stairs. And it adds a little bit more detail, a little bit more depth. And I use those words an awful lot when doing any building episode. I use detail and depth an awful lot. But it's very, very important to really understand that. And at first, I didn't understand it. Something I mentioned in my Let's Build a City episode 2 over doing the power plant over there. I was mentioning not to look at blocks for what name they have. Like the road here is grey wool, dark grey wool. And if you look at it as if the name and you look at it as what the block actually is meant to be, you'll never build anything that looks really, really nice. But if you look at it on the texture of it, the shading of it, like the path here, we've got shading on this texture pack at least. It won't work as well on the default texture pack, but on this texture pack we've got shading and depth. It almost looks 3D in a way. You can see the shape of the brick, how it arcs around with the light. And if you look at it at an artistic point of view rather than just looking at the name and you look at the colour, it'll make it a lot easier to build. And once put into a building, it looks really, really good. I really, really like it. This is wool in the ground. If you're building this to look using realistic blocks, sorry, you would never use wool. You would never use wool. This is wool. These statues are wool, light wool and light grey wool and grey wool, but they look like stone. Your eyes automatically make them appear stone because they're a statue and they're meant to look like stone. This is glass. In real life I highly doubt this would be glass, but it's a texture that really worked with the statue. So make sure you sort of experiment with blocks more than anything like that. So once you've got the whole building, then start on the roof. Walls first, then do the roof. The roofs are very, very difficult to do. Work them up slowly, work them up in levels. When appropriate, work up entire peaks and then work out. That works for this building, my Minecadia house. When you've got different peaks that you're doing, I done sort of one whole peak first. So I done all these, like this roof here. Then I done this one. Then I done this one. Then I done this front bit, then the back bit, and then I worked on anything that wasn't that didn't have a flat front, if you know what I mean. Any angled roofs, because these are difficult to do. These are very, very difficult to do, and they take a lot of work and they take a lot of time to do, especially in survival. If you're building in survival, these are awkward as hell to do, but it's a matter of working layer by layer. Go round with one layer, go round with another layer, and it'll slowly build up. So once you've got that, you can then start working on the inside. I always finish off the entire external look before going on the inside. Once on the inside, it's then a matter of laying out where you want rooms to be, what you want the ceiling to look like, and how you're placing stuff out. So this is sort of more up to you guys, more up to your own artistic feel. I like to have good lighting. I had an episode when I was showing this building off saying that there's a lot of lighting in this building, and yes, there is a lot of glowstone, but I used the glowstone more as a gold block more than a lighting block. It made it look very, very regal, so I used that. Plus the ceiling is very, very far away from the floor, so I had to put floor lighting in as well. As light only travels 7 blocks, I think it is, in Minecraft, so that would make the floor very, very dark if I was only lighting from the ceiling. But I wanted it in this building, it's to suit what sort of building you're doing, but as this building is a very communal place, I wanted it very lit up. In houses, it's a different matter. In houses, have shadows, have dark areas. Maybe not so much in survival because of mobs, but in creative mode, definitely have sort of darkened areas. I haven't got any dark areas in this building to show you, but yeah, have a little bit of shadows. Like that's a shadowed area. there, I suppose. I haven't got any lighting in there. Adds a little bit more light detail, a little bit more depth. I know I use those words a lot, but they are important. So anyway, enough of my sort of patronising speech. This is a little bit patronising. I'm not the best builder in the world. A lot of you guys like my buildings, and a lot of you wanted me to make this video, which is why I done it. I'm not saying I'm the best builder in the world. I'm just trying to give some tips that I use when planning a building and how I build the building. I've used two different cases. I've used a house and I've used a communal building for this example. And I really hope it does help you out. If it did help you out, and you are going to use these tips of using Google to get reference images, gather what parts of the buildings that you like on Google, and then putting them into your own building. Then hit that like button, because it'll really let me know that you liked it, and then it helped you out, and then I can sort of do some more videos like this in the future. If you haven't already, please subscribe, especially if you want to see this city progress. I'm not going to show you any more of the city that I've done. You'll have to go and watch other videos for that. But yeah, we're going to leave it there. So if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we shall see you in the next episode. Super fast outro. Bye!